Good morning, students. Welcome to our English class. So, today we are going to see chapter 4. Today I wrote this poem by Ken Nesbitt. About the poet Ken Nesbitt. Ken Nesbitt is an American poet famous for his humorous poetry for children. He was born on 20th February 1962. On June 11, 2013, he was named Children's Poet Laureate by the Poetry Foundation. His poems have appeared in hundreds of anthologies, magazines, and textbooks worldwide. Today I wrote this poem by Ken Nesbitt is an amusing poem in which the poet has beautifully described his poetry writing skills as well as experience. Students, have you ever tried writing poems?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm sure you will try one after this poem. Students, listen carefully. Today I wrote this poem. But I'm not sure if it's good. It doesn't have the things my teacher says a poem should. It doesn't share the feelings I have deep inside of me. It hasn't any metaphors and not one simile. It's missing any narrative, alliteration too. It isn't an acrostic, diamante or haiku. There is nothing that's personified. It doesn't have a plot. I'm pretty sure that rhyming is the only thing it's got. It sure was fun to write it, and I think it's long enough. It's just too bad it's missing all that great poetic stuff. I put it on my teacher's desk and wow, she made a fuss. She handed back my poem with an A++++, Ken Nesbitt. Students, let us understand stanza wise.
Today I wrote this poem, but I'm not sure if it's good. It doesn't have the things my teacher says a poem should. So here in this stanza, the child wrote a poem. He was not sure whether it's a good one. Then he showed the poem to his teacher, who found many faults in it. It doesn't share the feelings I have deep inside of me. It hasn't any metaphor and not one simile. So here, the child tells the readers that the first fault the teacher found was lack of true deep feelings missing in the poem. The teacher found no figure of speech such as metaphors and similes used in it. So metaphor is a figure of speech that makes an implicit or hidden comparison between two things that are unrelated but which share some common characteristics. For example, camel is the ship of the desert. So here, comparison between camel and ship is made by saying that they both are equal without using any comparison word. Simile, a phrase that compares one thing to another using words such as like or as. For example, our soldiers are as brave as lion. So here we compare two things, soldier and lion, using a word as. The one common thing between the both is their bravery. It's missing any narrative, alliteration too. It isn't an acrostic, diamante or haiku. So in this stanza, there are many new words like narrative, alliteration, acrostic, diamante or haiku. Narrative. Narrative is how a story is told or demonstrated. Alliteration is the repetition of the same consonant sound in several nearby words. For example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. The sound P is repeated multiple times at the start of a word. Acrostic. An acrostic is a poem in which the first letter of each line spells out a word, message, or a phrase. Diamante. A diamante poem is a style of poetry that is made up of 7 lines. The text forms the shape of a diamond. Haiku. A traditional Japanese style of poetry with 3 lines, usually 17 syllables. So here in this, the child says that teacher also did not find any narrative in it. Alliteration was also missing. The poem did not belong to any set genres. The poem could neither be classified as acrostic, nor diamante, and nor haiku. There's nothing that's personified. It doesn't have a plot. I'm pretty sure that rhyming is the only thing it's got. So personified means given human qualities. Plot. Plot is the sequence of events that make up a story. Rhyming. Rhyme scheme is the pattern of rhyme that comes at the end of each verse or line in poetry. So here in this stanza, it tells about other essential poetic literary elements missing in the poem. The poem did not have personification and plot. The only poetic element it had was rhyming scheme. It sure was fun to write it, and I think it's long enough. It's just too bad it's missing all that great poetic stuff. So here, the child defends his poem by saying that he enjoyed writing it. It was long enough. He regretted that he could not put all those literary elements in it which the teacher found missing. I put it on my teacher's desk, and wow, she made a fuss. She handed back my poem with an A++++, Ken Nesbitt. So here she made a fuss means the teacher was really impressed with the poem. So in this stanza, the child is proud of the fact that when he handed in the poem for evaluation, the teacher gave him A+++++, in spite of the lack of all the poetic devices.
So, students, in spite of all these remarks, the teacher gave him good grades because she was impressed by his courage to write something and encouraged him to write more. The poet here is trying to give a message that your creation may not be the greatest one, but we must be happy about it and should enjoy that. So here ends the poem.
So students, let us recall the meaning for hard words. Metaphors, words or phrases that describe a thing by calling it something else. For example, my teacher is an angel. Simile, a phrase that compares one thing to another using words such as like or as. Alliteration, the repetition of a letter or sound which creates a musical effect. Bobby bought a big ball. Acrostic, a poem in which the first letters of each line can be read downwards to form a word that is usually the topic of the poem. Diamante, a poem of 7 lines where the text forms the shape of a diamond. Haiku, a traditional Japanese style of poetry with 3 lines and usually 17 syllables. Highlight the correct options. First one, the poem that the narrator wrote had simile or personification or rhyme. The correct answer is rhyme. Second one, the narrator dash writing the poem. enjoyed, or disliked, or was nervous? The narrator enjoyed writing the poem. Answer these questions. Who do you think is the I in the poem? The poet or a child? Give reasons. So here, the I in the poem is a school child because he or she mentioned that he or she submitted the poem to the teacher for review. Second one, according to the teacher, what elements should a good poem have? According to the teacher, a good poem should share the deep feelings of the poet and should also have such elements as metaphors, similes, narrative, alliterations, personification, and a plot. Third one, what do you think the phrase "she made a fuss" in the last stanza really means? In the last stanza, "she made a fuss" means that the teacher was really impressed with the poem. Today I wrote this poem. Does not have most of the elements that, according to the teacher, a good poem should have. Do you think the poem is good? Why? Why not? Although today I wrote this poem does not have most of the elements of a good poem, it is still a good poem. It narrates a child enjoyment in writing a poem. His or her anxiety whether it will be liked by the teacher, and finally the happiness which he or she gets on receiving the A++++ grade in simple rhyming lines. There is also a note of humor at the end when the child receives an unexpectedly good grade from the teacher. Make a list of all the rhyming words in the poem. What does fuss in the last stanza rhyme with? So here, good, should, me, simile, to, haiku, plot, got, enough, stuff, fuss, plus. So students, I will be posting assignments in Google Classroom. So download the Google Classroom app from Play Store, click join and type our class code and submit your assignments there. Thank you students.